In this episode today, I share with you how we've been getting the phone to ring with quality leads, and it's not what you think. Hey, I'm Shaytoya. I've spent more than 10 years in construction, working behind the scenes in marketing, hiring, and I've seen how overwhelming it can be to grow a business. That's how we've learned to build a sustainable business using clear systems, strong communication, and intentional recruiting. If you're ready for better hiring, smarter remarketing, and a business that doesn't fall apart when you step away, welcome to Building Better Contractor Businesses. So before we jump into this episode, I personally want to invite you to join our Facebook group. Our Facebook group is called Building Better Contractor Businesses, and this is a location where you can ask questions and just hang out with real people, real contractors who's possibly going through the same thing you are. Be sure to join. I look forward to connecting with you there. So lately, we've personally have noticed an increase of phone calls, which is amazing, which I'm very, very excited for. But what I can share with you, the biggest reason of why we have seen this is because this thing called being consistent. The last month, what I did was I started scheduling our post to go out twice a day on a consistent basis. And for you to do that, to be consistent, you do not have to be the biggest business. You just got to be the most consistent. So I want to talk about a time that I was inconsistent. So being a small business, sometimes we can get overwhelmed with the business and with what the other tasks that we have to complete. And at times we forget the importance of posting, being consistent online, because maybe not me personally, but you as a contractor, maybe you get busy with a job, maybe you get busy with sending out estimates, and you forget about being consistent with your online presence. And so we've been there. We've hired people who told us it wasn't important. And the truth is, it's the most important thing. It's very important that our audience is seeing us on a consistent basis. Google wants to see us on a consistent basis. So last month, I really got super focused on posting 2 posts a day on our Google business profile. And so when I did this, I used a tool called Metrical. And I personally love Metrical. Metrical allows me to schedule posts out weeks, months in advance. And it allows me to post on Google, TikTok, Instagram, Google My Business, now called Google Business Profile, YouTube Shorts, YouTube, it provides me so much. But having the ability to have 2 posts go out on Google has been a life changer. And I can sit down one time a month and get it done. So that has been a huge game changer. Also, making sure you're uploading photos on a consistent basis. Photos and posts are different. Those are 2 different things. Posting with your photos and posting on your posts are 2 different things. Make sure you understand that. And then also, it's very important that your services are being completed, you let the audience, your Google know exactly what is it that you offer. So make sure that I think that I would actually last month, another thing that I actually did was I went onto the profile and I changed everything. We've had a lot of changes within the last 7 years. So I went onto our Google profile and made all the necessary changes to Google. There's services that we offered in the past, or maybe just because I'm not an actual technician, I've never actually been out in the field. Maybe there were things that I said we offered and maybe we didn't offer, or maybe I actually didn't understand what we offered. So I made a lot of different changes. And so, I re-updated the profile. I made sure our phone number was right. I made sure that all the information was clear. I made sure that everything went to the right website. And another thing that I did was I made sure to intentionally speak to Las Vegas commercial contractors. Everything I post, I make sure that there's words in the post. Las Vegas, Henderson. I talk to businesses. I make sure that I literally am speaking to people who are local. I'm using words that locals would use. I am a local. So I would say that is very important that I'm speaking to the people who would use our services as well as the location of where we are located. So Google is trying to figure out who you are, what you do, and where you do it. So being consistent on posting the location is very, very important. So my number one tip when it comes to Google Business Profile, be consistent. That is the real advantage you have, is consistency, is posting, because a lot of contractors are not consistent when it comes to posting on their Google Business Profile. I did talk about how we started to post on a daily basis. I also we are consistent on our Google, but it is not as consistent because I do not use Google for business. I use Google for branding. Most people are not going to Google to purchase low voltage services. They're going there to unwind. So for that reason, I'm being more consistent on Google, but I at least have 4 posts that go out a week on our social media outlooks, our social media platforms. I think that is a good thing to know, is that people are not going to Facebook to purchase. They're not going to Instagram to purchase. And a lot of times, that being said as well, for you to be found on social media, you have to pay ads, in which we are not currently doing because I do not feel like that's going to get us anywhere. But people are going to Google to make purchases, to make decisions. So that is why I'm really focusing on Google right now. Another thing is I am repurposing content for social media. And then another thing I'm also doing, as I said, those 4 posts that I'm posting on that profile as well. So some days, instead of 2 posts, there may be 3. I'm also, depending on the platform, I'm speaking to that audience. So yes, those posts may be similar, but they're being said differently depending on the platform as well. I'm also consistently posting photos. I don't always, unfortunately, get photos from the team, but I speak about it all the time and I get the photos that I can. Regular updates. Speaking about the things that are going on the projects, yesterday we went to a networking event. I attended the Henderson Chamber here in Las Vegas, or in Henderson. We had breakfast and we met amazing people and I took photos. Those are great updates that I can share for the Google Business Profile. Those are events that we're at. This weekend, we're going to be attending the gala with the Women in Construction event. That's another opportunity for me to post about the gala that's going. I'm very excited for this gala. It's a sold out event with other contractors, other women who are also in construction. So just having those regular updates are very important, and just staying active weekly. Another thing that's very, very important is Google. Google rewards active businesses. Customers trust active businesses, which is a compound over time. Another thing that I would like to add is that when it comes to speaking to local businesses within the post, using the words Las Vegas, Henderson, using the words that people actually use, Nevada, Summerlin. If you're not local, you may not know these terms. Another words that I've been making sure that I use, and I use a lot of the same words on our post: commercial low voltage contractor, structured cabling, security cameras, access control, tenant improvements. Another thing is just making sure that I'm super clear on what our content is saying. Understanding we are speaking to humans, understanding that people may not actually see these posts, but it's helping us be found within Google. So being a Las Vegas commercial low voltage contractor, because that's what people are searching for. Number 3 is reviews. Reviews matter more than what people think. I talk about getting reviews on a consistent basis. Every week with our team meetings, I'm like, reviews, reviews, reviews. It's been a couple of weeks since we've got any reviews, so I'm going to keep talking about it. It's not just about getting a review once, but you got to consistently get reviews. That is what Google is looking at to make sure you are consistent with getting Google reviews. If you get 10 Google reviews in 1 week, but stop, there's really no point because Google is like, why? Number 4 is storefronts. So I'm a part of a group, the Contractor Fight. Amazing. I will tag them. He's our coach, Tom Reber. And so one of the questions that people had asked that group was, for me to be found on Google, do I need a storefront? And the answer is no. If you are being consistent with your posting, if you are uploading photos, if you're asking for reviews, if your profile is complete, no, you do not need a storefront. Google requires a physical business address for verification. And so there was a time where Google allowed you to have PO boxes. There was a time where they weren't super strict, but when they started the verifications, they're asking you to post a photo of the street. They're asking you to see your business. And I would also like to add that if you are not using a storefront, they are still going to make sure you've run that business. They're just not going to be as strict. So PO boxes are not allowed. I've had to learn this the hard way. Last year, we hired a marketing company and they're like, oh, you have to have a storefront. And I was like, no, but they talked me into it. And I'm like, no, we don't. And so it was like a whole entire process of like getting verified because they were like, you got to have a storefront. And I was like, no, we don't. But we ended up listening to them and I ended up finding out that I was right. So for that reason, your business actually has to be a location that you use. If you're going to use a storefront, you have to use an actual address that you are at, and Google wants proof. And if you're not able to provide that proof, you're not going to be able to use that address. So being able to put your service locations, most of us service companies do not have an actual address. Maybe we'll have one in the future, but at this moment, we do not have one. And so I think that it does not matter. As long as you're being consistent, as long as you're using the actual service locations, we're located here in Las Vegas, in Summerlin, you can add multiple locations. You don't have to just stick with one. Yes, it may help you, but if you're being consistent, you're still going to beat those people. So you just have to make sure that the location that you use is the actual location you are operating at. They're going to ask for proof. And this is something that they recently started doing. So you do not need a flashy storefront to outrank your competitors. If you are being consistent, that is going to outrank them. Number 5, for contractors to understand, we quit too soon. Maybe at first you're super, super excited. You're like, oh, I'm being consistent. I'm posting for 2 weeks. Then you stop for whatever reason. But Google wants to see that you are consistent, that you are consistently posting on their pages. So for that reason, you must be consistent. And maybe you stop posting because you hired someone and for whatever reason, they did not get you results. I've seen many reasons why people start and then they stop and then they start and they stop. So it's just very important that you find a system that works for you. That's the biggest thing that I could tell you. Or find someone that's young or, that maybe not young, but someone that can do it for you, that has the experience and the knowledge that they can do it on a consistent basis. So being inconsistent is going to kill your momentum. Branding is all about repetition. Marketing is repetition. Trust is reputation. The contractors who are currently winning online, it's because they are constantly showing up. Yes, there is contractors who are paying for ads, but if they stop paying for those ads, it's going to stop. So having that foundation is very important. Google wants to reward those people who are active, trustworthy businesses. And the only way that you are going to show Google is that you are posting on a consistent basis. If you start posting long enough, people are going to start seeing you as being familiar. Just like more and more events that I attend and I start seeing these contractors and I start seeing these people who I want to connect with, they're starting to see me on a consistent basis. Google is the same way as well. So if this episode has helped you, I would like you to share it with other people, other contractors who could also build better systems, get better branding, and learn better leadership. Also, I'd like to invite you to our Facebook group, Building Better Contractor Businesses Facebook group. This is where you are going to get connected with other contractors. This is where you are going to ask the necessary questions that you have It sucks having to do this alone. Why do that? And I'm there to help. We appreciate you guys being here, and we will see you on the next episode. As always, let's continue building better contractor businesses. If you believe that this episode brought you real clarity, be sure to share it with another contractor who also needs it. And if you want to keep this conversation going, be sure to join our community of contractors inside Building Better Contractor Businesses Facebook group. This is a community where we talk through the real problems that you are having in your business. The link will be found in our show notes. And remember, we are not just completing projects. We are building better contractor businesses. I will see you next time.